really quickly before
so the bus is actually a Lagos State staff bus. It's a BRT bus that was transporting civil servants, staff members of the Lagos State government, and a train crushed it. It is I don't know if I should call it a freak accident, because what the question you would ask is, what is a bus doing on a train track? However, as we spoke about earlier on, the reason we do have buses who cross train tracks, but there are safety precautions put in place to ensure that the two never have to meet. So in the past, what you would get is that you'd already have gotten an announcement, whether by bell or the closing of the train track, so that a bus or a vehicle does not cross this. Remember, it happened in Kaduna as well. It happened in Abuja, the Kaduna-Abuja rail, where a car was also stuck on the tracks and was hit, and we had loss of lives. Here, we've not been able to ascertain the number of lives that have been lost, but we've already seen people being carried out. So a very graphic picture of a stone over some. It is horrible. This shouldn't be happening in the place where we call the center of excellence, the commercial capital of Nigeria, the most populous city in Africa. You know, we come up with these lofty names. Accidents happen, very true, but they are avoidable incidents that should not happen in a city, cosmopolitan city like Lagos. It's very sad. I hope there'll be investigations done, and that if there's anyone who is culpable, you know, arrests will be made and they will face the full wrath of the law.
Yeah, reports that I'm receiving, they're already saying about 2 casualties, several injured. I mean, this is like a suicide mission.
Yes.
What was a bus doing at that particular hour? Isn't there a time frame for them to go around Rufai?
I mean, Audrey, my heart goes up, my heart bleeds for people that lost their lives because they didn't think they were going to lose their lives. My heart bleeds for them. But I'm sorry to tell you this, Audrey.
Don't say it.
It will happen again. You know why? It has happened before. And why did it happen again? Because we didn't learn. You know why we didn't learn? Because culture will eat strategy for breakfast. And we don't have a culture of doing things right. Look at elections ordinary now. Dr. But you talked about census just now. Somebody sent me a message. I say, that census is another election waiting to happen, no? Because it's going to be massively politicized. And because we don't learn, that's who we are. So you see, if we start to have a behavioral personality change in this country, then it can be a whole lot better. You see, I think there should be a mental reset in this country. People keep shouting for a revolution. The only revolution we need is a mental revolution. And how does a mental revolution happen? Once people start to see justice is being done, their minds will start to change. The mental revolution we need in Nigeria is justice. The only revolution we need is justice. Once people see it, it happens. See, something happened many years ago. There was an accident in a place in Chicago. And a certain black man called Gareth Morgan sat down. And he said the reason for the accident was because people didn't coordinate each other. And he invented something called the traffic lights. A black man invented the traffic lights. And it reduced tremendously accidents. Since the last incident of train crossing, what did we learn? We didn't learn anything. What were the sensors on the train track? What were the crossing mechanisms? Who was signaling the train that a car was coming? What was the condition of the bus driver? What was the best possible approach? What was the syndication of the timing at which the train will pass with the time bus will pass? In other parts of the world, you know when a train will come. When I still go to England, I know a train comes around central London every 5 minutes. But in this regard, do we even know the times the train leave? Can I, as I speak on my phone, Google train times within the trains that move within Lagos? So when you don't have a societal synchronization, Oji, it will repeat itself. And like Dr. Abati used a very important word. He said this train accident is a metaphor for what Nigeria has become. And that is it.
Dr. Abati.
So it's a metaphor for what Nigeria has become. Ineptitude, incompetence, all the in.
Unfortunate. Dr. Abati, really quickly.
Well, I mean, I said all of that earlier on, but the thing to say about this is how Nigeria happens to people. When we use that phrase that Nigeria has happened to so person, it simply means a certain tragedy has befallen an individual or a community that should not ordinarily have happened. But that happens repeatedly, whether it's regard to kidnapping or violence or mindless killing or terrorism, simply because the state continues to fail in terms of its responsibility to the people, which in itself is a constitutional responsibility of the state. Section 14, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution. Somebody woke up in the morning, entered the staff bus to go to the office to serve the Lagos state government, and then somewhere along the way, a collision between a bus and a train. In parts of Europe, you see the train and the bus, they will be going together with clockwork precision and regularity,
schedule,
and everything. No needless accident.
Absolutely.
But here in Nigeria, if you are not careful, when you leave home in the morning, you are not sure you will return in the evening.
Unacceptable.
This is just the tragic story of our lives. Now, that train line along that PWD in Ikeja, I've been told, is the responsibility not of the Lagos State government, but of the National Railway Corporation. The same National Railway Corporation that could not secure any of the train lines, either between Abuja or Kaduna, or between Abeokuta and Ibadan, or any other part of the country, continues to fail. There should be a proper review of the operations of the Railway Corporation in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
It's not enough to just lay out the tracks. If you cannot provide the security that is required so that people don't just drop dead for no reason at all, then of course maybe we should shut down the Railway Corporation for a while until we're able to provide all the necessary details in terms of securing lives and property.
Well said, Dr.
So again, we commiserate with those families that have lost their loved ones. A lot of people have been turned into motherless children, orphans, widows, widowers, out of no fault of theirs.
Very sad.
Are you then surprised that we have in Nigeria what we call the Japa phenomenon? People are running away. Not necessarily because they cannot eat here, but because they are enveloped by danger.
You cannot be surprised. May their souls rest in peace.
As the train they come, it can the demand get up, leave the cocoa, because they tell the people say they clear. Why you not? See that you
An active scene of the deadly accident of Thursday morning. A train traveling on the narrow gauge on this corridor rammed into the staff bus of the Lagos State government, leaving 6 people dead. Many others were injured. Officials cleared the scene, moving the damaged bus off the rail track. No clear signaling system in sight, but the man entrusted with the responsibility of avoiding such collision says he did his best to stop the bus driver.
Before train reach this market, you must make sure that you stop all the time. But this one is just confidently.
It just
means that you want to overtake. That is
so that means other people don't stop.
Other people
don't stop. You just want to overtake and then run. Thank you. Well done.
Eyewitnesses also corroborate his account.
There was a shuttle bus that passed before the BRT because that was what he saw before he crossed. Before he wanted, he was like, because the train was not very close to them. It wasn't very close, it was like somewhere here and he was there. So he felt maybe he could maneuver before the train would come close.
I saw the train and the bus. So a lot of people is inside the bus. There's no people to rescue them out. So instantly I saw all those things. So I feel pain. So I rushed inside the bus. So I started packing people and rescuing them inside the bus, outside.
The governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party visits the scene to sympathize with the victim.
For us, I think that it it's about time we begin to have a barrier whenever the trains come in, a barrier that would ensure that you don't even have access to cross. In about 2-3 kilometers to that time, put a stop to every vehicular movement around it.
The scene is still busy amid the usual vehicular traffic on that corridor. You observe and caught on camera how crossings are managed at this particular intersection. As emergency management officials clear the scene here in the Ikeja area of Lagos, more questions are being asked on the issue of safety on the rail corridor. Pedestrian and vehicular crossings at intersections in the metropolis where more rail lines are being built.
What we're trying to do is to eliminate the interaction between rail and vehicles, and that's why we're building overpasses. When you go to Ikeja, when you go to Yaba, you go to Oyinbo, and then Mushin, we have built 4. I think the Agege also, we constructed Agege, and then we have 5 others which the federal government will build. I think they finished one, they've commissioned this one, and then there are others that they will build. So once the train is in full operation, you will not have this interaction between vehicles and rail.
This fatal vehicle train crash is the second in the space of 4 months across the country. In December 2022, a passenger train from Kaduna to Abuja killed a pedestrian on the rail track, raising more concerns about safety on the nation's rail corridor.